What would you do if you found a suitcase, alone, abandoned, in a dark alley, and when you opened it, it was filled with more cash than you've ever seen in your life? For Dean, a man who had nothing, this wasn't just a chance, it was a door. But not all doors lead to freedom. Some lead to something darker. In the shadowy veins of Manhattan, where the city breathes through back alleys and forgotten streets, lived Dean, a man reduced to silence by circumstance. He had no address, no phone, no trace, just a name and a history the world no longer asked about. Every night, he curled beneath the echoes of the city, wrapped in layers of clothes and fading memories. On one such night, the sky wept cold rain, and steam rose from the manholes like ghosts escaping underground. Dean, soaked and shivering, scouted for shelter behind a familiar dumpster. But something unfamiliar caught his eye, sleek, polished, and completely out of place. A black suitcase, clean, heavy, locked. He paused. In a city where everything is claimed and every inch watched, this was an anomaly. He scanned the alley. No footsteps, no cameras, no reason for it to be there. Yakan lakitam kan ayat ini, samula dari berikut. What? Ang pubisa? Only the hiss of rain and the electric hum of loneliness. Dean reached out, fingers trembling, not just from the cold, but from possibility. Back in the dark hollow beneath the bridge he called home, Dean sat with the suitcase beside him like a sleeping dragon. It mocked him with its silence. What secrets did it hold? What danger? He tried everything. Coins, a bent spoon, even a rusty fork to pick the lock. Nothing worked. The case remained sealed, defiant, and yet it breathed with mystery. Questions gnawed at him. Was it stolen from someone dangerous? Was there a GPS tracker inside? Or worse, a trap, planted to tempt the desperate? But hunger dulls caution, and Dean hadn't eaten properly in days. He laid his hand on the case. It felt warm now, alive almost. He decided, tomorrow he'd find someone who could open it. Dean remembered a locksmith a few blocks away, a kind man he once helped carry groceries. He arrived soaked, shivering, suitcase in hand. The man hesitated, then ushered him in. With a few turns of tools and quiet judgment, the lock clicked, the lid lifted, and time stopped. Inside were stacks of $100 bills, so pristine they looked counterfeit. Dean's heart raced as he stared at the fortune, bundled neatly, layered like books in a forbidden library, and resting atop the cash, a sleek business card. Elliot Granger, hedge fund manager, Granger Capital Holdings. Dean held the card like it might explode. Who loses this much money? Or who runs with it? Dean used the money sparingly, at first. He shaved for the first time in months, bought a clean thrift store suit, and checked into a cheap motel. Alone, under flickering light, he Googled the name on the card. Elliot Granger, wealthy, known on Wall Street. Gone missing 5 days ago after a late-night gala. Dean stared at Elliot's image. Jawline strong, smile rehearsed, eyes cold. He then turned to the mirror. The resemblance wasn't perfect, but close enough, especially to strangers who never look long. In that motel room, Dean began rehearsing. How Elliot might talk, how he'd hold a drink at a business event. And for the first time in years, Dean had a mission. To be seen, to be someone. He forged the ID, bought a fake Rolex from a vendor in Queens, and booked a table at a high-end bar mentioned in an old social media tag of Elliot's. The moment he entered, everything shifted. No one flinched. The hostess smiled. "Good evening, Mr. Granger." Just like that. He took his seat among the city's predators and princes, ordered a drink he couldn't pronounce, and watched the world unfold around him. His cheap suit passed under dim lighting. His nerves danced beneath the fabric. But no one saw the fraud. They saw the wallet. In that moment, Dean realized wealth wasn't armor. It was camouflage. Dean was approached by a man in a tailored navy suit, holding 2 glasses of aged scotch. "Elliot, didn't expect to see you here," the man said. "How's the hedge fund chaos treating you?" Dean froze, but only for a second. He raised his glass and mirrored a grin. "Oh, you know how it goes. Market volatility, nervous investors, too many conference calls." They laughed. It worked. In the elevator ride that followed, they discussed quarterly growth projections, foreign bonds, and merger rumors. Dean improvised. He repeated phrases he'd heard in passing, added just enough conviction to seem clever. Not once did anyone doubt him. He was Elliot now, and Elliot was everything Dean wasn't: confident, wealthy, untouchable. Days turned into weeks. Dean was no longer just impersonating Elliot, he was becoming him. He memorized Granger's voice from podcast clips, studied his handwriting, even adopted his favorite cologne. Money flowed. Dean forged fake documents, bluffed investment deals, and dined with people whose shoes cost more than his motel bill. He started believing the lie. But guilt never forgets its way home. At night, he dreamed of Elliot watching him, judging him, or worse, waiting to return. Dean couldn't sleep unless the suitcase was in the room, locked, untouched, like a vault of sin. The knock came just past midnight. A woman stood at the door, tall, composed, dressed in black. Her eyes didn't blink much. "You're not Elliot," she said calmly, without accusation, just certainty. "But you have something of his." Dean tried to close the door. She held it firm. She wasn't police, not FBI, something colder, something private. Walked to the suitcase, handed it over. He left that hotel room with nothing. But for the first time in years, he felt free. Weeks later, Dean found himself back in the alley behind the dino. He was still poor, still anonymous, but lighter somehow, more real. He passed the old dumpster and paused. There it was, another suitcase, black, heavy, locked. He smiled. Not this time. He turned, walked away, and never looked back. Because some doors, once closed, are better left that way.